All right, everybody, we're back, but there's a fly in the ointment. Hear me out. So I filmed lesson 5, and a client watched it, and they asked me, Max, are you sure that the music video director agreement should live in the releases table? And the truth is, I wasn't sure. Now, I remember when making the video, I realized we were already going past the 30-minute mark into the 40-minute mark. I think the whole video was like 50 minutes long. And I was really trying to wrap it up. I was really trying to show you guys the finale and then move on. So I didn't give it much thought as to whether the music video agreement should live as a field in the releases table or as a distinct table in the base. So in this video, we're going to show what it looks like both ways and then tell you the right answer at the end. Let's dive right in. So here we are in the base. You recall we opened up a view for music video directors. Now let's just say, hypothetically, we kept all the agreements in the releases table. There's definitely going to be more agreements, right? There's going to be producer agreements. There's going to be side artist agreements, mixers, masters, maybe photographers, depending on whether you have a photographer come out for a specific release or not. So if we're keeping all the agreements for a specific release on the release table, it requires us to open new fields to attach these documents. So I would have to change this to director agreement. And then I would have to have a new field for producer agreement. And then I would have to have a new field for side artist agreement. So look, this is already better than your other option, which is having a spreadsheet and a box.com account or Dropbox and keeping all these things in folders. You know, this is already better, right? Because you could put the producer agreement, put the side artist agreement, put all these things, and then let's say there's 2 side artists, okay? You can duplicate this. You can add another, say second side artist agreement, right? But I think you can already tell that this is just like a slightly better option than doing it your way, doing it the old way with spreadsheets. But I thought that Airtable was meant to solve the problem entirely. And the truth is, it is. And that leads me to believe that this way of keeping the agreements or triggering the director agreement from the releases table is not correct. Let's see what it looks like the other way. So let's start a new table. We'll call this one agreements. Agreements have a link back to releases. And then agreements has an attachment field. And then agreement has a type. And we'll call this director. producer, side artist. Okay. So in this case, it's gimme shelter. And then let's come back, grab that document, put it there, call this producer. Then we can say, gimme shelter again. We can call this the side artist. And we can say, gimme shelter again and call this the director. Sorry, this was the producer, the director, ba, 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 ba. So now it's already feeling a lot better in that a separate table allows us to have several agreements linked back to one release. Now, the question you need to ask yourself in the future as to whether we should be starting a new table or keeping the information within the existing table is, what does the relationship look like? And there are three types of relationships: one to many, many to one, or many to many. And if the answer is that there are many of something to one of something else, then you open up a new table. So in this case, what I failed to realize is that one release has many agreements. And then those agreements need to be defined by things like single select fields. They also, to be honest with you, need to be linked back to contacts, right? So let's just say there was a producer I don't think any of these people are producers. But let's say we had a contact whose name was Samuel Son. And he was a producer. And we had this agreement. Then we could just link it to Sam Samuelson. And we could know that this agreement, that how many agreements this one contact has. If we ever cared, we could look it up in between tables. So now in this case, let's do it again with another release. So we'll say the Beatles yesterday. So now we have 3 releases for that. Sorry, 3 records for that. All director, side artist, producer. The truth is, now you can duplicate the view, call this one gimme shelter, filter by where release contains gimme shelter. Duplicate this. Change the filter. To be yesterday. And now if someone in the admin department or a manager or something says, okay, I need to see all those agreements or whatever, you could literally just send them this view. So what do we learn? If the type of data that you're setting up has a one-to-many relationship, open up a new table. If not, keep it in the same table. It's pretty easy to tell. For instance, one contact has, let's go to contacts. Contacts have only one email address. So keep it in the table. Contacts have one first name. Keep it in the table. Contacts have one PRO. Wait, this is a good one. So in theory, you could keep it in here, which I did. But one PRO could have many contacts, right? BMI could represent a bunch of artists or contacts on your list. ASCAP could represent a bunch of artists or contacts on your list. So therefore, you should open up a new table. In this case, we've already done so. It's called organizations. We should put BMI in there. We should put ASCAP in there. CSAC in there. And then we should turn this PRO into a linked record for into a roll-up field to organizations. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue to reconfigure the entire automation such that we would no longer be rolling all this information up, looking all this information up to the releases table, but we would be doing so to the agreements table. So all those fields you just saw would actually be out here. And then that trigger, that status trigger, which gets Zapier started, Zapier started to trigger the e-signatures and then to bring it back in when it's done. This would all live here. Let me know and we'll get it going.